I think so. Which aircraft did you trained in? I think it right now it's only HPT-32, right? That
Yes.
Deepak, if you that's an Indian name, right?
Yes. So we trained in what was called the HPT-32.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
HPT-32. Right.
HPT.
P-32. Okay.
So HPT-32 was a trainer aircraft.
Hmm.
We trained about 6 months in that.
Okay.
When the first day when I lifted off from the surface of the earth, Mother Earth, was the best experience in my life, I guess, till now. So on the 6 months, we trained in Hyderabad on the HPT-32, after which we were divided into the streams of fighter, transport, and helicopter.
Okay.
So since I was in the transport fleet, I came to Yehlanaka. And then I did my first, again, 6 months training in an aircraft called Dornier DO228, Dornier 228.
Okay.
And after that, finally, I did my training in AN-32, and the rest of the 10 years, I was flying the AN-32.
Okay. That was my another question which you mentioned. Means what was your state of mind when you first sat in the HPT-32 and you did your first flying? And then about your solo flying, means I think it's the process, right? You train and then you have to do
Yes.
your first solo flying also.
Go solo, yes. So you have to train about 8 or 9 sorties at train, and then your 10th sortie or something like that is your solo sortie, solo flight. So definitely the first flight is something like, when the world opens to you the first time, kind of an experience. You're just lifting up from the sky and going up. And then my instructor told me, just you don't have to do anything with the instruments, just keep looking down. And then he made me see everything. He turned the aircraft this side, that side. And I mean, I was on the top of the world. There is nothing better. Paragliding, parasailing, these sports, those sports, lots of experiences we have. But when you take off on the aircraft, it's a different feeling. When you do it solo.
Ma'am, one question. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No
Was
problem.
there any feeling of vomiting when you did that, the first flight? And
this happens for many people. It didn't happen with me because I was not having any air sickness problem.
Okay.
And probably because also people who are avid swimmers or into sports, vomiting is something which comes if your stomach muscles are not very toned.
Okay.
But if you have very toned stomach muscles or you are an avid sports person, it's not that significant. So I didn't experience that much. And other than that, my experience was amazing. And the solo flight was like, it was a dream. I can't express it in words right now. I took off and I knew that there's no one with me and I'm flying, and I did a lot of maneuvers on my own. It was beautiful.
In simple sentence for a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, because that is when at least you can put that seed in their mind that flying is something that you would like to do. And if you have not done flying, at least I like to say that you have not experienced your whole life. In simple sentence, for a 5-year or 6-year-old, what was your feeling? Matlab, just like people say, "मैं हवा में उड़ रहा था." I was totally free.
The feeling is like, if there is something which will be a part of my memory throughout life, and which I will think and always feel that I was the fortunate person to be able to do that. It is flying. It is going airborne in the cockpit alone.
Okay.
वो उस चीज की जगह और कुछ ले नहीं सकती.
Right. That is something which I wanted to hear. उस चीज की जगह कुछ और नहीं ले सकता है. Ma'am, okay, you have done flying in AN-32 and Dornier both. Right now, there is one aircraft that is going to join Indian aviation fleet, that is C295 MW Airbus. Any thoughts around that? Because I
No, Shailendra, I'll be true about it. I have not done much of my research in the new aircrafts that are joining. So after AN-32, because AN-32 was inducted in the Air Force in 84, and it's an aging fleet.
Right.
So after that, the C-17s and the C-130s have joined us.
Right.
And obviously the IL-76 and 78 are also there.
Right.
So with the aircraft that you told, I am not yet conversant that what would be the tactical and operational lookout in getting that aircraft.
Okay.
But I am sure that every new aircraft that is coming to the transport fleet is definitely making it a huger and a more better prospect. And so flying is an experience, but flying the latest machine is another experience. When you have the best technology in your hands and you're flying something as if you're flying a spacecraft, you remember Star Trek and you remember the Avengers and you remember Tony Stark and the Iron Man, and that. So every new aircraft that comes to our fleet gives you that experience कि ये तो अजूबा है, मैं अजूबा उड़ा रहा हूँ.
जब आपने फ्लाई किया था AN-32, right? It was mostly fly by wire kind of thing, or mostly electromechanical kind of thing, where you can feel that
it was mostly electromechanical. It was on the field. It was manual. We had the most basic systems.
That joystick, which is more like a W kind of joystick.
That is still there in most of the transport flights. In that also, we use that kind of a joystick only. That is called the control column. But the systems, the other systems were very basic during our time.
So they have moved from panel to mostly screens, if I can
LCDs, yeah. LCDs, everything has become digital now. Then they have moved to HUD. You don't even have to look down. Everything comes in front of you.
Yes.
They have moved to HUD. They have moved to everything being electronic. You remember Tom Cruise making patterns on the glass?
Right.
So with more advantage, I think aircrafts will also be like that. You'll make patterns and it will fly. The patterns that you have made.
Right. Ma'am, with limitation of time, I have couple of last question. And same, I always keep on asking this question to everyone. Any movie that you will recommend to a young generation, and one book that you will recommend to young generation?
Does it have to be defense oriented, you want
to
say?
At least movie need to be.
So yeah, movie, I mean, I'm sure Top Gun is one of the movies which is like, it will bring goosebumps on every child.
Right.
Right. So Top Gun had been in the top of my priority. But if you want to see movies based on defense, like I am not remembering the name right now. End of Line.
Yeah, basically behind the enemy lines.
Behind enemy line, Meg Ryan.
Yes.
And then so there are a lot of Hollywood movies which depict correctly. So I think if you're asking me one movie, Top Gun and maybe Behind Enemy Lines are the two movies that I would suggest, which can definitely pump up your imagination or your idea about defense.
Both the movies we saw in class 11th after bunking our classes. And we have waited so long for Top Gun's second part, which have came just like 1 year back, right? We have been waiting for that. And ma'am, one book for the young generation?
I think Wings of Fire is one of the best book that we should read.
Any last one-liner for the young girls out there? Means they are exposed to a lot of things these days, right? Very different from your age,
right? So girls are smart. They might look underprivileged, then actually they are not. And I would suggest that, if you have the mettle, if you have the mind power, defense, especially Air Force and aviation, is definitely a place that you should go to experience what is a complete life. You will know your strengths better and you will be a better human being.
Okay. Ma'am, with that, probably I'll conclude this interview, and thanks a lot for giving your time. I really, really appreciate. I value time a lot, and thanks a lot for giving your time. I'll share the edited version of interview with you. Take your approval and then launch it on the YouTube channel. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Shailendra. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.